going on, guys? HK Titan here with a brand new video for you guys. But first things first, as always, I hope you guys are having an amazing day. So in today's video, we are going to be jumping into Tinker's Construct, more specifically how to craft the Smeltery, as well as all of the main components for the Smeltery, and how to set up the Smeltery itself. Once we get that accomplished, we're going to end up completing all of these tasks right here. So we have 5 tasks we're going to complete today, but luckily I went ahead and spent a little bit of time while I wasn't recording, and I ended up completing a bunch of the menial tasks that really aren't too fun to watch. And then on top of that, while I was streaming over on twitch.tv/H2K Titan, I ended up grinding out a little bit of a base place here. So it's nothing too fancy or crazy. I ended up finding this neat little hollow here that had a nice mountain beside it, and I set up a nice little starter base home. And if you guys will look in the window right there, you guys will notice a special guest, Mr. Moo from the last episode. I felt bad for punching him with my sword, so I went ahead and brought him all the way over here to our new base place just to kind of make up for it. And it looks like he's been enjoying his time, or at least enjoying his stay so far. Alright, so if we'll go ahead and pop in here, as far as grinding out ores or anything crazy like that, I did not grind out too many ores. Everything I've gotten are from the villages that we saw in the previous episode. So we are sitting kind of short or kind of shy when it comes to resources, but again, we could go ahead and get a bunch of those in the future. There's really no rush. Another thing I did do is I ended up digging out a mine that goes down to Y14. I know diamonds aren't that important in this mod pack, but they do help, especially in the early game. Alright, so now that I've shown you guys what all we've accomplished, this is a nice little farm that we have here. Nothing too crazy, just a lot of wheat and a bunch of vegetables that I got from a village. On top of that, I went ahead and I did end up breeding up a bunch of pigs, chickens, sheep, and of course cows. That way we don't need to struggle, or we don't have to struggle for food, and we have a pretty much infinite source of leather as well. Alright, enough of that. Let's go ahead and jump straight into Tinker's Construct, more specifically the Smeltery itself. So, if you'll come down here, you guys will notice that we have a bunch of boxes set up. You guys could be like, what are all these boxes for? Each of these boxes contain components and the crafting recipe for the components, and this is going to be everything that you're going to need for the Smeltery itself. It may look like a lot, but at the end of the day, it really isn't too much. It all boils down to what's in this chest right here. All right, so as you guys can see, we have gravel, clay, and sand in here. Using this crafting recipe right here, you will end up getting yourself some grout. And what grout does is grout is the foundation for the entire Smeltery, because once you put the grout into a furnace, you are going to end up with seared bricks. And this is the primary crafting component for everything to do with the Smeltery. Once you get a bunch of seared bricks all crafted up, and I recommend probably getting maybe anywhere between 5 to 6 stacks of seared bricks, just to be safe, and that way you don't have to keep going out into the wild and gathering up clay, sand, and gravel. Alright, now once you have a bunch of your seared bricks saved up, the first couple of components that you're going to want to craft are going to be seared bricks and the Smeltery controller. The seared bricks crafting recipe is actually very simple. It's just 4 seared bricks placed like this. And with these seared bricks, I recommend probably grabbing anywhere between 2 to 3 stacks to make a decent size Smeltery. And then of course I'll explain why a bigger Smeltery is better in the long run. But now that you have your seared bricks crafted, the next thing that you're going to want to go for is you're going to want to go for the Smeltery controller. The Smeltery controller, again, is very simple to craft. You just take a bunch of seared bricks and you place them in a pattern much similar to the chest. And then once you do that, you're going to end up with the Smeltery controller. The Smeltery controller is the main heart of the Smeltery itself. Without this, you will not be able to use the Smeltery itself. So just keep that in mind and make sure that you have at least one of those for your Smeltery. Now, next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be crafting up a seared tank. Again, a very vital part of the Smeltery itself. And it's crafted very simply with the seared bricks and glass. It's not overly complicated to make, but it is a necessity for the Smeltery itself, because this is where you're going to be placing the fuel for your Smeltery once you have your Smeltery built up. Following the seared tank, the next thing that you're going to want to get is you're going to want to get a couple of smeltery drains. They are super cheap to craft, and this is how you're going to extract all of the fluid or all of the ores that are melted down from the smeltery itself. So I know me, myself, and I like to craft up quite a few of these because it makes it easier to extract massive amounts of the ores in a short period of time. All right, once you guys have those crafted up, the next thing that you're going to need is you're going to need a seared faucet. And what this does is it allows you to extract the melted down ores from the drain itself. So in order to make this work effectively, especially in early game, you're going to want to grab yourself some seared faucets as well. The next component that we're going to end up crafting is going to be a casting table, and this is how you're going to make a bunch of your Tinker's Construct tools, weapons, and stuff like that. All right, now that we have all of that, the next thing that we're going to end up making is we're going to make a casting basin. What the casting basin is it basically allows you to dump all of your ore into the basin itself in order to turn all of that melted ore into an actual block. So say you have a bunch of iron and you want some iron blocks. The only thing you would have to do is just drain the iron out of the smeltery into the casting basin, and it will make you a iron block. Next thing that I have here is a seared window. This is not a part of the smeltery itself that you actually need, but it's more for aesthetics, and I actually like the way the seared window works because you can see everything that you have smelting down inside of the smeltery, and it's still going to allow the smeltery to work. And it's a very simple crafting recipe as well. All right, now that you guys have all of that, there's nothing left to craft. I went ahead and I did grind out a bunch of the components beforehand. That way we wouldn't have to waste too much time at going to different locations and finding all of this gravel, sand, and then of course clay. All right, next thing that we're going to do is we are going to come over here where I have a little bit of a layout set up. And I have this layout set up because I usually make my smelteries 3x3. I think you can make them up to a 4x4, but I mainly just stick to 3x3 because if I need more space to store ores or anything crazy like that, I'll just build the smeltery higher up. So when we get started placing down the smeltery, we are going to place down the seared bricks in the bottom like so. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to place the heart of the smeltery and place it right there. I usually place the seared tank right next to the smeltery. That way it's kind of easy. You just walk up and then fill it up with lava. And then the next thing that we're going to be doing is we are going to be surrounding this bottom platform with these smeltery drains. And you guys will be able to see why I do this here in just 1 second. All right, now that you have all of your seared drains, you have your seared tank, you have your smeltery controller. The smeltery controller itself should light up like so. Now, if you open up the smeltery as of right now, you guys can see there is a 3x3 spot here. Now, each of these slots end up taking up 1 ore. So, in order to increase the amount of ore that we can store and smelt down at the same time inside of our smeltery, we are going to need to make our smeltery bigger. And in my preference, much bigger. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take these seared tanks and I'm going to stack them up like so. And I'm going to go ahead and take these seared windows and place them down like this as well. And as you can see, we have 3 seared tanks. I'll end up having 4 seared tanks when I'm all said and done. But the next thing that we do, once we have these seared windows and the seared tanks placed, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take some more seared bricks and we're just going to place them up like this. And what this is doing is it is increasing the storage capacity of our smeltery. As you guys will notice from this, now we can store a lot more ores inside of our smeltery and smelt them down at the same time. Now, I generally like to make mine pretty high. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and build up here really quick. I am going to place down 1 more seared tank, and then that's going to be it for the seared tanks. And then we're just going to go ahead and build the smeltery a little bit higher, just because I want to be able, or I want to have the ability to smelt down as many ores as I possibly can at the same time. So basically, I can throw a bunch of ore inside the smeltery at any given point in time, AFK, and then come back, and all of them will be smelted down. All right, so once I feel like we are high enough, I will go ahead and call it good. Maybe one more layer, like so. All right, so now that we have our smeltery built up this high, another thing that I recommend doing for the sake of not having your smeltery fill up with a bunch of nonsense is I do recommend just throwing a cover on top of your smeltery, because if, say, a zombie spawns on top of here, or if you have a bat that comes along for some reason, if it falls inside of the smeltery, it will smelt down and turn into blood, and it won't really clog up your smeltery, but it can be kind of a nuisance to get rid of. All right, let's go ahead and take care of this zombie really quick, and then we'll go ahead and finish up the smeltery. All right, actually, I'm going to go ahead and go to sleep. I will be right back, and we'll go ahead and finish up with the smeltery. All right, it is now officially daytime, so let's go back to our smeltery and finish setting this bad boy up. That way we can go ahead and smelt down all of the feature ores that we get, and it is already looking very, very cool. All right, so the next thing that we're going to want to do is we are going to want to first get rid of these extra bricks here. And no worries, guys, if you don't have this much seared brick and you don't want to cap it off, you can just go ahead and remove the cap and build it as high as you want, because, of course, the more height you have, the more ores you can actually store in your smeltery and just AFK with those. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and throw down these smeltery faucets, like so. Looks like we need to craft up a few more faucets. No big deal. We have a bunch of extra resources over in our chest. But the next thing that we're going to end up doing is we're going to place down a couple of these drains like this. And then we're going to go ahead and throw down these casting tables right here. And boom. All right, cool. We need to craft up a couple more faucets real quick. They're super cheap, so it shouldn't take us too long. So let's do this, craft up 3, and then we'll go ahead and do this. And I think that should be enough to finish off our smeltery here. All right, perfect. Now that we have our smeltery finished off, guys, we have officially set up our first Tinker's Construct smeltery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go mine out a few ores, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring you guys back and show you guys what this bad boy can do. Alright guys, I am back from the mining expedition. We ended up getting quite a bit of iron. We got a little bit of gold, a little bit of silver, a decent amount of copper, and we also got a little bit of tin and lead ore as well. Not too much resources, but I only spent an hour down in the mines. Luckily, we ended up getting a decent amount of resources in that short amount of time. So now that we have all of these resources set up, the next thing that we're going to want to do is we are going to want to grab our buckets here. So what we do with these buckets is we just fill them with lava, and then we take the buckets like so. We left click, give me 1 second. We left click on these seared tanks, and we're going to go ahead and fill these seared tanks up with lava. The more lava, the better, because the more lava, the longer the smelter is actually going to be able to last. All right, perfect. Now that we have a little bit of lava inside of our smeltery, we can go ahead and start smelting down some of these resources that we got. So let's go ahead and left click a bunch of these iron ore into the smeltery itself. And as you can see, we are smelting down 63 iron ore. And what this is going to turn into is basically going to double our resources. So we'll end up with something like 126 iron, which is why it's very, very good to get a smeltery online as pretty much as soon as you possibly can. And all of these bricks are not hard to come across. As you guys can see, we ended up coming across quite a few villages that actually had the smelteries themselves inside of the village. So that's where I ended up getting a bunch of these seared bricks from was I just ended up robbing quite a few of the villages for these seared bricks. All right, now as you can see, we have 126 ingots worth of iron inside of our smeltery right now, and we turned the 63 iron ore into 126, so it is very efficient to set this smeltery up as soon as possible, like I already said. So the next thing that you guys may be asking, what if we have multiple ores, like we have gold, we have silver? what we do is we can go ahead and throw all of these different ores inside the smeltery at the same exact time. And then I'll go ahead and show you guys what you can do with this. All right, so as soon as these are done smelting, I'll go ahead and bring you guys back real quick. All right, guys, they are officially done smelting. As you can see, we have 24 ingots worth of molten gold. We have 126 ingots worth of molten iron, and then we also have molten electrium. And that's from mixing a bunch of different ores together in the smeltery. So just a little bit of a heads up. If you do mix certain ingots together, you can get different types of ingots. So I mixed gold and silver, and I ended up getting a bunch of electrium. So that's why we don't have any silver in here. It's not because I threw electricum ore in here. It's because I mixed two different ores together. So that's one of the bonus parts of the smeltery, and also one of the downfalls is that you can make so many different ores by just combining them inside the smeltery themselves. So as you can see, if we click on each one of these different ores that we have inside of our smeltery, it will take it to the bottom like so. And if we wanted to pull out some iron, the only thing we would have to do is come over here to our casting basin, right click on top of the casting basin itself, and it will start to drain out the molten iron. But say we have enough iron, we don't need any more iron. Let's go ahead. We'll grab out some electrium next. So we'll go ahead and come over here, right click on these two, and as you can see, instead of pulling out the iron ore, we are pulling out the electrium. This is very good to know, because if you are new to Tinker's Construct and you aren't quite sure how it works, you may be a little bit confused and not understand how to pull iron out of the actual smeltery itself. But don't worry, guys, it's super simple. You just end up clicking on which one or which ore you want, and it'll pull it to the bottom, and that will be the ore that ends up coming out of the smeltery itself. As you can see, we now have 2 electrium blocks, and we also have 1 block of iron. Now that we have all of this, this is the final product of, well, not the final product of the smeltery, because we can also automate the smeltery, but I think I'll save that for a future video. All right, so next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and sleep really quick, and then I'll go ahead and pull you guys back for the second part of Tinker's Construct. All right, guys, it is officially daytime, and now we can start getting into the second part of Tinker's Construct. Now that we have the smeltery up and running, the next thing that we need to do is we actually need to get the Tinker's Construct crafting terminals up, well, the crafting stations up. That way we can go ahead and start crafting up some Tinker's Construct weapons and tools. All right, so the first crafting recipe is going to be a blank pattern with a chest, and it's really simple to make a blank pattern. The only thing you need is you need yourselves a few sticks and just some normal planks. In order to make the actual blank patterns themselves, you take a stick like so, and you take a plank like so, and you're going to get a blank pattern. And these blank patterns are how you're going to get the actual cast for the tool parts and all of that fun stuff, which we'll cover in a future video. Alright, so now let's go ahead and make ourselves up our pattern chest. Perfect. Now that we have our pattern chest, the next thing that we want to do is we want to craft up what is this craft up again? Let's go ahead and craft up a part builder. Now that we have the pattern chest and the part builder itself, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves a crafting station with a blank pattern again. And this is going to give us a tool station. Now that we have the tool station, we have one more thing that we're going to grab, and then that will be it for now with the crafting stations themselves. And it's going to be a stencil table. All right, now that we have all of these completed, I think we actually completed a quest. Let's go ahead and check out the tinkering. Yup, of course, guys, we ended up getting a lot of these quests done just by completing this tinkering right here. So let's go ahead and claim reward, and we should be able to grab these 8 blank patterns, and there is that soothing tune again. All right, now let's see. I ended up getting quite a few stone bricks with the chisel just to complete this actual quest itself. So it says I got balls of moss. So what we need to do is we need to take a chisel like so. Grab this, throw it here, and then we need all of these mossy stone bricks. And once we have that, we need to, I don't know if we need to throw it inside of the smeltery or if we need to throw it inside of a crafting station. All right, so I'm going to figure out how to make the balls of moss, and I'm going to go ahead and bring you guys right back. All right, guys, I went ahead and looked it up real quick. All we need to do is we need to grab as much of this mossy stone as we can possibly grab. Let's go ahead and do this, and then we'll do this like so. Then we need to head over to our crafting table real quick. And then take the mossy stone like so, and then this is how we are going to get our balls of moss. Unfortunately, it is very, very expensive to actually craft up these balls of moss. So, I do recommend saving up all of your cobblestone like I have, then turning it into stone, and then turning it into stone bricks. Because as you guys can see, it's going to take a lot of this mossy stone to go ahead and get a bunch of these balls of moss going. And balls of moss are going to be very, very helpful in crafting some of the future tools and future weapons as well. Alright, so now that we have the balls of moss, I think that's going to be another questy boy done. Perfect, we have the balls of moss. Okay, so that should be done, right? Let me see, modifiers, balls of moss is an invaluable modifier, even late tools. Yeah, so I don't know why it's not letting us complete this because we have 1 of 1 ball of moss. So, oh, we don't get a reward for that. We just complete it. All right, cool. So next thing that we have to do, of course, we had to construct a smeltery. Luckily, we crafted up the entire smeltery before this. So you guys already know how to make the smeltery. We can go ahead and claim this reward. And there's that soothing tone again. Awesome. All right, now that we have this completed, let's go ahead and look into creating a knapsack. So I'm going to go ahead and look up how to make a knapsack, and then I'll go ahead and bring you guys back real quick. All right, guys, so I looked up how to make the knapsack, and it looks like we're going to get into Tinker's Construct just a little bit. We're not going to dive full-blown into it, but we are going to go ahead and complete this task, or quest. All right, so let's go ahead and place down our part builder. Our patterns chest can go over here, tool station with the stencil table. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to come over here to the stencil table. We want to look at which stencil we want, like so. Grab you. And then we're going to want to grab a tough tool rod. That's not a tough tool rod. This should be the tough tool rod. All right. So as you can see, we now have a tough tool rod pattern. So now that we have the tough tool rod pattern, the next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to come over here to the part builder. We're going to place the tough tool rod pattern here, grab ourselves some cobblestone, and then we're going to end up with a stone tough tool rod. Now that we have the stone tough tool rod, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to come over here to our smeltery. We're going to make sure that we have gold on the bottom, like so. Then we're going to go ahead and place our tough tool rod inside of the casting table, and then right click on the seared faucet, like so. And as you can see, it dumped gold on top of the stone tough tool rod. And now the only thing that we're waiting for is we are waiting for it to harden, and perfect. Now that we have the tough tool rod cast, we are setting extremely well, and we can go ahead and jump into creating the knapsack. All right, then we can go ahead and come over here and throw you in the lava because we don't need the stone tough tool rod yet or anymore. And then we're going to come over here, click the iron, turn it to the bottom. Then we're going to go ahead and make a couple of these tough iron rods. Now we do need a couple of gold blocks or gold ingots here. So let's go ahead and grab ourselves a gold ingot really quick. So we're just going to go ahead and dump a bunch of gold inside of our casting basin here. And then once we get the actual block itself, then we're going to turn that block into a bunch of ingots. So it shouldn't take it too long for the gold. There we go. Perfect. Now we're going to take this gold block, turn it into 9 gold ingots. All right, guys. Now that we have these gold ingots, let's go ahead and look up the knapsack again. We have gold ingots. We have the iron tough rod. Now we just need leather. And I think you guys know where this is gonna go. I really don't want to do this, but you know what, guys? It's for the betterment of these cows. They were getting kind of cramped in here anyways. All right, so we have 3 cows left in this pen. Let's go ahead and jump over to this pen and finish off a couple of them like so. We don't need too much leather, but yeah. All right, that should be good. Now we'll leave all of these cows in here for now. I think I'll end up turning these 2 stations into like sheep farms, or maybe extend the pig farms out just a little bit. But we'll go ahead and make that choice in the future. Let's go ahead and get back to crafting up this knapsack. All right, now that we have a bunch of materials for this knapsack, it is relatively cheap. It's not super expensive. Luckily, we got just enough leather to cover it. So we're going to take our leather like so, grab our iron tough tool rods, and then we're going to grab a gold ingot. And there we go, guys, our first knapsack. And now that we have the knapsack, we should be able to come over here to our questy boys. And we have our 36 slots isn't enough quest complete. Now that we have this quest complete, who made buckets so hard? All right, so now we need to make some cans. So again, guys, I need to figure out how to make these cans. So I'm gonna figure out how to make the can, and then I'll bring you guys right back. All right, guys, and the cans are actually very, very simple to make. They're not even remotely complicated. Whoops, I actually chose the wrong. All right, so for the crafting recipe, we actually need tin, which kind of makes sense because, you know, cans are made of tin or any of that fun stuff. So what we're going to do is we are going to come over here, put our tin in a pattern like so, and then we're going to grab these cans. Now that we have the cans, our quest should be completely complete, and now we have 4 lava cans. And there's that soothing tone again. So basically what these cans are is they hold just as much as a bucket of lava, but it seems like these cans are used up every time you use them. Oops, that kind of hurt. I think I may have used up all the lava over here. That's kind of unfortunate, but it looks like these cans can be kind of useful because they stack unlike lava buckets. But the only downside is that when you do fill them up, they are used up. So I guess it has its ups and downs. I think instead of using buckets from here on out, I'm actually going to switch over to using these cans. That's actually really good to know. We no longer need to carry around the buckets on us. We just need to carry these cans. It'll save us a lot of space in our inventory. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take these cans, open up our knapsack. Wait, what? How do you open up the knapsack? You place it on the ground? Huh? Bubbles? Huh. I have no idea how you use this knapsack. Alright, so I guess I need to figure out how to use this knapsack, and then I will be right back again. Alright guys, I finally figured out how to use it, and I feel so silly for this, but it actually goes inside of this little spot right here. And what this will do is it will give you this little bit of a knapsack option at the top. So that's kind of cool because it gives us like another inventory that we can store a bunch of stuff in, which is very, very cool. I do like that option because now we have twice the space that we had before. All right, now that we have that completed, we have the cans, we have the hot stuff. The last task that we're going to end up completing is going to be the gears task. So we need to, the gear cast is made using the stone gear and 2 gold, aluminum, brass, and the smeltery. Alright, so this should be relatively simple. The only thing we need to do is we need to come over here. Or where did I throw all of that cobblestone at? Oh, the only problem with having oh wait, it's still my inventory. Whoops. Alright, so let's come over here to the crafting table. I think the stone gear, maybe? Alright, Let's see real quick. Gear. So we're looking for a stone gear. So we need a wood gear. So we need sticks as well. Luckily, we have all of that on us. So let's go ahead and make a stone gear really quick. Come over here, make ourselves a stone gear like a so. Now we can come back over to our smeltery. Man, a Tinker's Construct is so much fun. It's so easy to use. Alright, now we need some gold like so. Then throw the gold on top of the gear like so. And now we have a gear imprint. So now we don't need to worry about crafting all of these gears up to... let me see. I imagine these gears can get kind of pricey to craft, right? Looks like they can get a little bit pricey because I think they all require you to make the previous gear. So opposed to have F50 go through this giant, or well, this small rabbit hole here, we should just be able to come over here, throw down our gear cask, throw that inside of there, and then we should be able to get a gear straight from this gold here. Yeah, cool. Awesome. So that makes things way easier. Alright, cool. So now that we have that done, this is going to be the last task for the day. Oops. Looks like I need to manually detect it. Alright, or maybe it needed to be in my inventory. Awesome. So now that we have that, that is another task done. Awesome. Now, unfortunately, I think that's going to be it for today's episode guys. We ended up getting a bunch of stuff done. We built the entire smeltery. We ended up completing what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tasks in this one episode alone. So hopefully, if you guys had any questions about like how to build a smeltery or how to make certain ores, we will eventually get more in depth with that. But man, there's so much that goes into each and every single one of these mod packs, guys. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And of course, as always, I hope you guys have the most amazing day of your lives. And I will see you guys in the next one.